Man rescues lion cub. What the mother does next is astonishing. Daniel Thompson was running through the Golden Ridge Wildlife Sanctuary when the desperate cries of a cub echoed through the Saturday morning, making his heart race with the urgency only those who've dedicated their lives to animals can understand. The cub was stuck in a crevice between the rocks of the main enclosure, its tiny paws flailing in the air, while its mother, a jaguar named Hope, frantically clawed at the stones trying to reach her baby. Daniel approached slowly, knowing any sudden movement could trigger the mother's protective instincts. But something extraordinary happened. Hope looked directly into his eyes and took a step back, as if understanding he was there to help. "Easy now, girl, easy," Daniel murmured, his voice trembling not from the situation itself, but because the cub's desperate mewling sounded too much like a child's cry. Rachel, the assistant veterinarian who had worked with him for 3 years, came running with the rescue equipment. She stopped abruptly at the sight. "Daniel, she's letting you get close." "Seems like it," he replied, still processing the moment. "Grab the climbing rope from the storage. Room, quick!" As Rachel ran off, Daniel knelt near the crevice. The cub, no more than 2 months old, was stuck in an awkward position, its little body twisted between the rocks. With every attempt to move, it only seemed to wedge itself tighter. "Hang in there, little one," Daniel whispered, his hands already searching for the best way down. Hope approached, and for a moment Daniel froze. But the jaguar merely pressed her nose to the edge of the crevice, sniffing where her cub was trapped. Her golden eyes met his again, and Daniel swore he saw pleading in that gaze. Rachel returned with the ropes and gear. With her came Mrs. Wilson, the sanctuary's longest-serving employee, who had worked there since its founding 20 years ago. "Good heavens," Mrs. Wilson murmured, making the sign of the cross. "In all these years, I've never seen Hope trust anyone like this." Daniel began securing the rope around his waist, his hands moving with practiced ease. But something was different. His fingers trembled slightly, and it wasn't from fear. It was something else, something he'd tried to bury for a long time. "Rachel, you hold the rope. Mrs. Wilson, keep an eye on Hope if she shows any sign of aggression." "She won't," Mrs. Wilson cut in firmly. "Look at her eyes, Daniel. She knows you're going to save her cub." Dear listener, if you're enjoying this story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us newcomers so much. Now back to the rescue. Daniel began lowering himself into the crevice. It was tighter than it looked from above, and he had to twist his body to squeeze through. The cub's cries grew louder, the sound reverberating off the stone walls in a haunting echo. "Easy there, little guy, I'm almost there," Daniel said, his voice echoing strangely in the confined space. Up above, Rachel filmed everything, with her phone, documenting the rescue for the sanctuary's archives. It was standard procedure, but she had no idea this video would change so many lives. The cub was stuck by its hind leg in a crack in the rock. Daniel worked carefully to free it without causing harm. The little feline struggled, frightened, scratching his arms with its tiny, sharp claws. "Shh, it's okay," Daniel murmured, his voice catching for a moment. The weight of the cub in his arms, the warmth of its trembling little body brought back memories he'd fought hard to forget. With infinite care, he managed to loosen the trapped leg. The cub immediately clung to him, its claws digging into his shirt, its little face buried against his chest. Daniel felt his heart tighten. "Rachel, pull slowly," he shouted. The climb was even harder than the descent. Daniel needed to protect the cub with one hand while steadying himself with the other. His back scraped against the rocks, but he barely noticed. All his attention was on the tiny creature clinging to him, as if its life depended on it. When he finally emerged from the crevice, what happened next left everyone speechless. Hope approached slowly, her movements calculated and precise. Daniel stood still, the cub still pressed against his chest. The mother jaguar came closer, so close he could feel her warm breath. Then, in a gesture that defied all logic and wild instinct, Hope licked his hand. It was a quick touch, but loaded with meaning. Afterward, with the same gentleness, she took her cub by the scruff and retreated to the corner of the enclosure. "Did you film that?" Mrs. Wilson asked Rachel, her voice thick with emotion. "I got all of it," Rachel replied, still in shock. This is unbelievable." Daniel stood up slowly, his legs shaky. He looked at his hands where the jaguar's saliva was still damp. In all his years working with wild cats, he had never experienced anything like this. "She thanked you," Mrs. Wilson said, tears running down her wrinkled face. "Hope thanked you, Daniel." "Don't be ridiculous," Daniel snapped, stepping back. "Animals don't feel gratitude like that. It was just a reflex." But even as he spoke, he knew he was lying. Something had passed between him and Hope in that moment. Something deep and primal, a connection that transcended the barrier between human and animal. Rachel slipped her phone into her pocket, thoughtful. She had known Daniel for years, but there was something about him that always seemed broken, as if he carried an invisible weight he never shared with anyone. "I'll check on the cub later," Daniel said, already heading toward the office. "Rachel, get the first aid kit ready for the scratches." "Daniel, wait," Rachel called. "Are you okay? Your hands were shaking." "I'm fine," he cut in. "It was just the adrenaline." Mrs. Wilson watched him walk away, shaking her head. She recognized that kind of pain, the pain of someone carrying ghosts. That night, Rachel couldn't resist. The video was too extraordinary to keep to herself. She posted it on the sanctuary's social media with the caption, "Incredible moment. Mother Jaguar thanks vet who saved her cub." The video went viral in hours. Thousands of views, shares, emotional comments. People were fascinated by the wild animal's display of gratitude. Daniel only found out the next day when he arrived at the sanctuary and found the parking lot full of news vans. "What's going on here?" he asked the security guard at the entrance. "You haven't seen it? The rescue video is everywhere." "Reporters want interviews, people want to meet Hope." Daniel felt his blood run cold. Exposure was the last thing he wanted. He had chosen this remote sanctuary in Colorado precisely to stay out of the spotlight. He slipped in through the back entrance, avoiding the reporters. Rachel was in the office, her face pale with worry. "Daniel, I'm sorry. I didn't think it would blow up like this." "Take the video down," he ordered. "Now." "But Daniel, it's incredible publicity for the sanctuary. Donations are already pouring in. People want to adopt animals, sponsor." "I said take it down," he shouted, making Rachel flinch. Just then, Mrs. Wilson walked in, holding a tablet. "Daniel, I think you need to see this." "I don't want to see anything, Mrs. Wilson. I just want this madness to stop." "It's about the video," she insisted. "There's a comment here that, well, I think you should read it." Reluctantly, Daniel picked up the tablet. It was one comment among thousands, but Mrs. Wilson had taken a screenshot and zoomed in. "This man saved my cat when I was a child in the exact same way. I was 8 years old, and my cat Whiskers fell into a storm drain. He climbed down without hesitation, even though my dad offered to pay any amount. He said he didn't need payment, that helping was the right thing to do. I never forgot. Thank you for still saving lives, Dr. Daniel." Attached to the comment was an old photo, faded. With time, it showed a much younger Daniel, maybe around 30, holding an orange cat while a little girl smiled beside him. Daniel let the tablet slip from his hands. His legs weakened, and he had to steady himself against the table. "Do you know this person?" Rachel asked. "No," Daniel lied, his voice hoarse. "Must be a mistake." But Mrs. Wilson wasn't foolish. She picked up the tablet and checked the profile of the person who had commented. Emily Parker, a veterinarian in Los Angeles. The profile picture showed a woman around 35, with the same brown eyes as the little girl in the old photo. "Daniel," Mrs. Wilson said softly, "this young woman is looking for you." "She's not looking for anyone," Daniel replied, trying to keep his voice steady. "It's just a nostalgic comment." "There's more," Mrs. Wilson continued, scrolling through the comments. She wrote other things. "I spent years searching for the man who saved my cat. My mother passed away 2 years ago, and before she died, she asked me to find him. She said she had something important to tell me. Dr. Daniel, if you're reading this, please get in touch. I need to talk to you. It's about my family." Daniel abruptly left the room, leaving Rachel and Mrs. Wilson stunned. He went straight to Hope's enclosure, needing air, space, anything but those words on the screen. Hope was lying with her cub, gently licking it. When she saw Daniel, she lifted her head and stared at him. There was something in her gaze, something that looked like understanding. "You don't get it, do you?" Daniel murmured to the jaguar. "You protect your cubs. You'd do anything for them. I abandoned mine." The words spilled out before he could stop them. Years of secrets, of guilt, poured out to a wild animal watching him with golden, patient eyes. Rachel appeared behind him, hesitant. "Daniel, that woman, Emily, she sent a private message to the sanctuary. She says she's coming from Los Angeles, that she needs to meet you urgently." "She can't come," Daniel said, panic clear in his voice. "Rachel, reply saying I'm traveling, that there's no estimated return." "Daniel," Rachel gently interrupted. "She's already on her way. She said she's leaving Los Angeles this afternoon." Daniel's world crumbled. 27 years. 27 years since he had walked out that December morning, leaving behind an 8-year-old daughter and a wife who had confessed in tears that she was pregnant with another man's child. He had been a coward. Instead of facing it, talking, trying to understand, he had simply vanished. Changed cities, changed lives, buried the successful Los Angeles veterinarian, and was reborn as the reclusive animal caretaker in Colorado. What does she want? He asked, more to himself than to Rachel. After all this time, what could she possibly want? "Maybe," Mrs. Wilson said, appearing beside them, "she just wants to meet her father." Daniel stared at her, shocked. "How did you, I'm not a fool, Daniel. I've worked here for 20 years. I can tell when someone's running from something, and the way you look at the cubs, especially the females. I always knew you had a story." "You don't understand," Daniel said, sinking into despair. "I abandoned her, left an 8-year-old child with no explanation. What kind of father does that?" "The kind who's hurting," Rachel said gently. "Daniel, whatever happened, it's been almost 30 years. Maybe it's time to face it." "Face it?" Daniel laughed bitterly. "How do I look my daughter in the eye and tell her I abandoned her because her mother betrayed me? How do I explain that I was so proud, so hurt, that I chose to disappear rather than try to be a father anyway?" Hope stood up and walked to the fence, her cub clumsily following. She pressed her body against the barrier close to where Daniel stood. "You know," Mrs. Wilson said, watching the jaguar, "Hope has a story too. She was rescued while pregnant, after her mate was killed. Both mother and cub could have died, but she fought. Even alone, even wounded, she fought to bring this little one into the world." Daniel reached out and touched the fence. Hope let out a low, deep purr, a comforting sound. "She's telling you she understands," Mrs. Wilson continued. "That pain sometimes makes us make bad choices, but she's also saying it's never too late to make things right." Mrs. Wilson and her mystical interpretations, Daniel tried to brush it off, but his voice was thick with emotion. "Daniel," Rachel called his attention. "Emily. She mentioned her mother passed away. Maybe the message she wants to give you is about that. A final request, perhaps forgiveness." "Forgiveness," Daniel repeated. "Sarah forgiving me, after what I did." He hadn't said her name aloud in decades. Sarah, the woman he loved who betrayed him, whom he abandoned along with their innocent daughter. Rachel's phone rang. She answered, spoke briefly, and hung up. "That was security. The news crew wants an interview with you about the rescue. What should I tell them?" "Say no," Daniel replied automatically. "Daniel," Mrs. Wilson interjected, "think about it. If your daughter is coming, if she's going to find out where you are anyway, wouldn't it be better for her to see the man you've become? Someone who dedicates his life to saving and caring?" Daniel looked at Hope and... Her cub! The little one was trying to climb onto its mother, falling and trying again, determined. The mother watched patiently, ready to help if needed. "How many wasted years," he murmured. "How many lost moments." "But how many lives saved," Rachel added. "Daniel, you built this sanctuary. You've saved hundreds of animals. That counts for something." "Does it?" Daniel questioned. "Does it count when I saved animals but abandoned my own daughter?" The day passed in a haze of anxiety. Daniel tried to work but couldn't focus. Every car that entered the parking lot made his heart race. Emily said she'd arrive by late afternoon, but what if she decided to come earlier? Around 3 in the afternoon, Mrs. Wilson found him in the storage room, rearranging bags that didn't need rearranging. Running away? Again? She asked bluntly. I'm not running, he defended himself. I'm working. Daniel, sit here. She gestured to a makeshift bench. I'm going to tell you something. Reluctantly, he obeyed. I knew Sarah. Mrs. Wilson dropped the bombshell. Daniel stared at her, shocked. What? How? She came here about 15 years ago. You had just opened the sanctuary. She looked for you. Daniel felt the world spin. That's impossible. How would she know? I don't know how she found out, but she came. She stood at the gate for hours, trying to gather the courage to come in. I saw her and asked if she needed help. And? Daniel could barely breathe. She asked for you. When I confirmed you worked here, she started crying, said she couldn't, that she had no right. And then she left. Why did you never tell? Me? Daniel exploded. Because I saw in her eyes the same pain I saw in yours. Two people too proud, too hurt to take the first step. I thought time would fix it. But then she died, and now it's too late for her. But not for your daughter. Daniel buried his face in his hands. Sarah had gone looking for him. After years she had tried, and he never knew. What else do you know that you haven't told me? I know you send money every month to a veterinary clinic in Los Angeles. The same clinic where Emily Parker works. Daniel lifted his head abruptly. How? I handle the accounting, remember? I know about all your anonymous donations. You keep tabs on her life from afar but don't have the courage to get close. It's the least I can do, Daniel murmured. Money doesn't replace presence, but it shows you never forgot, that you always cared, in your own twisted way. A noise from the main enclosure caught their attention. It was Hope, vocalizing unusually. What's wrong, girl? Daniel went to check. The jaguar was restless, pacing back and forth. Her cub followed, mewing. Is she okay? Rachel asked, stepping closer. I don't know, she's never like this. Daniel stopped mid-sentence. A car had just pulled into the parking lot. A silver sedan with Los Angeles plates. It's her, Rachel whispered. Daniel froze. Through the fence, he saw the driver's door open. A woman stepped out. Brown hair in a ponytail, white lab coat, professional posture. But her eyes were the same as the little 8-year-old girl he'd left behind. From the passenger side, another person emerged. A teenager, maybe 16, with headphones around her neck and the typical bored look of her age. She has a daughter, Daniel murmured. I have a granddaughter? Emily looked around, clearly searching for someone. Her gaze landed on the group near the enclosure, and even from a distance, Daniel saw the exact moment she recognized him. Her whole body tensed. Go talk to her. Mrs. Wilson gently pushed Daniel. I can't, I don't know what to say. Start with hi, Rachel suggested. The rest will come naturally. But Daniel didn't need to go. Emily walked decisively toward them, the teenager following curiously. With every step she took, Daniel's heart pounded harder. She stopped a few feet away. For long seconds, father and daughter stared at each other in silence. 27 years of absence, weighing between them. Hi, Dad, Emily finally said, her voice controlled but with a noticeable tremor. The word hit him like a punch. Dad. He didn't deserve to be called that, but she said it anyway. Emily, was all he managed to reply. The teenager looked from one to the other, clearly uncomfortable with the tension. Mom, is it really him? She asked. Yes, Olivia, Emily answered without taking her eyes off Daniel. This is your grandfather. Grandfather. Another word he didn't deserve. Daniel looked at the girl, Olivia, and saw traces of Sarah in her face. The same nose, the same determined chin. Cool, Olivia said without much enthusiasm. The sanctuary is big. The casual remark eased some of the tension. Rachel stepped forward. Hi, I'm Rachel, Daniel's assistant. You must be tired from the trip. Would you like coffee, water? Thank you, Emily said. Water would be great. Rachel walked off to get the drinks, taking Mrs. Wilson with her and leaving the family alone. An uncomfortable silence settled. It was Hope who broke the awkward moment. The jaguar approached, the fence, and vocalized softly, drawing attention. Wow, Olivia exclaimed, stepping closer. "Is that a real jaguar?" "That's Hope," Daniel found his voice. "The mother of the cub I rescued in the video." "Can I get closer?" Olivia asked, teenage excitement replacing boredom. "You can, but be careful. She's tame, but still a wild animal." As Olivia watched the jaguar in fascination, Emily moved closer to Daniel. "We need to talk," she said quietly, "about Mom. About what she asked me to tell you." "Emily..." Daniel started, but she cut him off. "No, first you listen. Then if you want to speak, you can. But I came from very far away and waited a long time for this, so first you listen." Daniel nodded, resigned. It was the least he... "Hold her. Grandma, look at the baby," Olivia exclaimed. "He's so cute." The word hit Daniel again. Grandma. Sarah was a grandma. Sarah was dead. So many conflicting realities in his mind. "Mom had cancer," Emily began, her voice steady but her eyes moist. "She fought for 3 years. At the end, when the doctors said there was nothing more to do, she made me promise to find you. Emily..." "She told me everything," Emily continued. "About the pregnancy, about the affair, about how you left. For years I hated you for it. How could you just disappear?" Daniel lowered his head, accepting the accusation. "But then she told me the rest. What she'd never told me before. That the pregnancy wasn't from an affair. That she was..." Emily paused, struggling with the words. "That she was forced by her boss, and that she couldn't tell you the truth because she was ashamed, scared, so she made up the story about the affair." Daniel's world crumbled for the second time. To that day. He looked at Emily, unable to process it. "What?" was all he managed to say. "She was a victim, Dad. And instead of support, she got abandonment. But she never blamed you. Said she understood your pain, even though it was based on a lie she told." Daniel felt his legs give way. He had to lean on the fence all those years, all that hatred, that hurt based on a lie. Sarah suffered alone, raised Emily alone, all because he was too proud to stay and talk. "Why didn't she reach out to me? Why didn't she explain?" "She tried," Emily revealed, "several times the first year, but you'd vanished completely. Changed all your contacts, moved without a trace. Later, with time, she thought it was for the best, that you'd rebuilt your life and wouldn't want to know about a daughter you thought wasn't yours. But you are my daughter," Daniel said desperately. "You've always been my daughter." "I know," Emily said, and for the first time a small smile appeared. "Mum did a DNA test when I was a teenager, just to be sure. You're my biological father. The affair was a lie, but ironically, I really am your daughter." Daniel began to cry. Tears that had been trapped for nearly 3 decades finally found their way out. Emily watched him, her own face torn between compassion and years of accumulated hurt. "Mum!" Olivia approached, worried. "Are you okay?" "Yes, sweetheart." Emily quickly wiped her own eyes. "Why don't you ask Daniel if you can see the other animals?" "Can I?" Olivia asked Daniel, excited. He looked at the granddaughter he hadn't known existed. 16 years of life he'd missed, just like he'd missed Emily's other 19 years. "Of course," he managed to say. "Mrs. Wilson can show you. Mrs. Wilson." Mrs. Wilson appeared as if she'd been waiting for the call, which she probably had to. "Come with me, dear. I'll show you the mountain lions. We have some cubs born last month." When they were alone again, Emily continued. "Mom made me promise 3 things. First, that I'd find you and tell you the truth. Second, that I'd tell you she forgave you the day you left, because she understood her lie caused everything. And third," she paused, rummaging in her bag. She pulled out a yellowed envelope. "That I'd give you this. She wrote it the day before she died. Said only you should read it." Daniel took the envelope with trembling hands. His name was written, on the front, in Sarah's unmistakable handwriting. "I'll take a walk," Emily said. "You'll probably want privacy." "Emily, wait!" Daniel called. I'm sorry for everything. I know it doesn't mean anything after so long, but..." "It does," she interrupted. "It doesn't erase what happened, but it means something." She walked away, leaving Daniel alone with the letter and his ghosts. He looked at Hope, who was still near the fence, watching everything with her wise golden eyes. "What do I do?" he asked the jaguar. Hope yawned and lay down, her cub immediately climbing onto her back to play. Life moving forward. Just like that. Daniel opened the envelope. "Daniel, if you're reading this, it means Emily kept her promise and you two finally met. I hope it wasn't too late for you to build something together. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps those of us just starting out. Now back to the story. First, you need to know that I loved you. Even after everything, even with the hurt, the loneliness, the abandonment, I loved you. What we did to each other was terrible. But the love, it stubbornly stayed. The lie I told destroyed our lives. I was so afraid, so ashamed of what had happened to me, that I'd rather invent an affair than admit I'd been a victim. I thought, you might eventually forgive an affair. A rape. I thought you'd never look at me the same way again. How wrong I was. You didn't even forgive the made-up affair, and I lost not just my husband, but the father of my child. Our daughter Daniel, she's amazing. Smart, determined, stubborn like you. She became a veterinarian, did you know? Said it was so she'd be ready when she found her father. To have something in common. I looked for you for years. When I finally found out where you were, I went there. But when I arrived at the sanctuary, I saw you saving an injured ocelot, and you looked so at peace. I thought you'd rebuilt your life, that you didn't need ghosts from the past. So I left, but I watched from afar. I know about the incredible work you do. I know you save lives every day. I also know about the anonymous donations to Emily's clinic. Thank you for looking after her, even from a distance. I'm dying, Daniel. The doctors say it's a matter of weeks, and I can't leave with this secret. Emily deserves to know who her father is. Olivia deserves to meet her grandfather. And you deserve the chance to be a father, even if it's late. I don't ask for forgiveness because I know I don't deserve it. But I ask for a chance for Emily. She spent her whole life wanting a father. Be that father now, Daniel, it's not too late. With eternal love, Sarah P.S. Olivia is just like you, stubborn, an animal lover, and with the terrible habit of keeping everything to herself. Make sure she doesn't make our mistakes. Daniel read the letter 3 times before the words truly sank in. Sarah hadn't had an affair. She'd been a victim. And he, blinded by jealousy and pride, had abandoned a traumatized woman and an innocent child. Hope, he murmured to the jaguar, what have I done? My God, what have I done? The jaguar stood and walked over to him, pressing her body against the fence. The cub followed, mewing softly. It was as if she understood his pain. Emily returned, finding him still holding the letter, tears streaming freely. Did she tell you? Emily asked softly. Why didn't she tell me the truth? Daniel asked, his voice breaking. I would have stayed. I would have taken care of her. She was 28, Dad. It was a different time. Victims were blamed, questioned. She thought you'd be disgusted. Disgusted? Daniel exploded. I loved your mother. I would have done anything for her. Except stay to hear the truth, Emily said, and the words cut deep because they were true. Daniel had no answer for that. It was true. He hadn't stayed. He hadn't given her a chance to explain. He'd just assumed the worst and run. I'm a coward, he admitted. Maybe you were, Emily agreed. But Mom didn't want you to spend your life blaming yourself. She wanted us to know each other, to build something. After everything I did, everything I didn't do, could you? Emily Parker remained silent for a long moment, watching Hope with her cub. When I was little, she began, I used to wait by the window for you to come back. Mom said you were traveling, saving animals. I imagined you as a hero, rescuing lions and tigers around the world. Emily, when I grew older and realized you weren't coming back, the hero became the villain. I swore I'd never forgive you, that if I ever saw you again, I'd tell you how much you hurt us. Daniel Thompson braced for the final blow. But then I saw the video. I watched you save that cub, saw the mother trust you, and I thought, maybe you're neither hero nor villain. Maybe you're just human, flawed like the rest of us. Mom, Olivia came running back, interrupting the moment. Mrs. Wilson says there's a jaguar about to have cubs. Can I watch when it happens? Olivia, I don't know if we'll stay that long. You can stay as long as you'd like, Daniel quickly offered. We have accommodations for researchers, simple but comfortable. Mum, please, Olivia begged. It's a long weekend, no. School. When else will I get to see real jaguars? Emily looked from Olivia to Daniel, clearly torn. Maybe a few days, she relented, so we can talk more. But Olivia, your grandfather might be busy. Grandpa? Olivia turned to Daniel, eyes shining. Can I call you that, or do you prefer Daniel? The simplicity of the question, the ease with which she accepted the situation, caught Daniel off guard. Grandpa is perfect, he managed. Awesome. So, Grandpa, can I help with the animals? I promise I won't get in the way. Mum says, I'm good with animals, must be genetic. Despite everything, Daniel felt a small smile form. Olivia had the same energy as Emily when she was little, before he ruined everything. First, you'll need to learn safety protocols, he said. Mrs. Wilson can teach you. And no entering enclosures unsupervised. Deal, Olivia cheered. Mum, this is way better than staying home on Streamview. Emily shook her head but smiled, faintly. Go with Mrs. Wilson then, but be careful, okay? As Olivia ran off again, Emily turned back to Daniel. She's special, Daniel remarked. She is. Stubborn sometimes, like any teenager, but special. Emily paused. She always wanted a big family. It was just the two of us and Mom. Now Mom's gone. You have family here, Daniel said impulsively. I know I can't make up for lost time, but... Daniel, Emily interrupted. Let's take it slow. A lot has happened. We need to process, talk, really get to know each other. We can't go from strangers to happy family in one day. You're right, he agreed. I'm sorry, it's just seeing you here, knowing the truth, it's a lot. For me too, Emily admitted. I spent my whole life imagining this moment. It's never how you plan. Hope chose that moment to vocalize loudly, drawing their attention. Her cub was trying to climb the fence, clearly eager to explore beyond the enclosure. He's adventurous, Daniel commented, grateful for the distraction. Like his mother. Hope was rescued trying to cross a highway, pregnant and all. Why the name Hope? Mrs. Wilson chose it, said an animal that fights so hard to survive and protect her young deserves a name that means something. Mom would have liked that, Emily said softly. She always hoped we'd be together again someday. They fell silent, watching mother and cub. There was so much to say, so much to explain, apologize for, forgive. But maybe, as Emily said, slow was better. Rachel appeared, hesitating to interrupt. Daniel, sorry, but the reporters are still waiting. What should I do? Daniel looked at Emily, a silent question in his eyes. It's your decision, she said. But it would be nice for Olivia to see her grandfather recognized for the work he does. Let them in one at a time, Daniel Thompson decided, but only about the rescue and the sanctuary. Nothing personal. Rachel nodded and stepped away. Emily Parker gently touched Daniel's arm. Thank you for agreeing to see us. I know it was a shock. The shock was finding out the truth, Daniel corrected. You're a gift I don't deserve. Mom always said gifts don't need to be deserved, just received with gratitude. Before Daniel could respond, Olivia came running back. Grandpa! Mrs. Wilson said Hope trusts you more than any other handler. Is that true? It seems so, Daniel replied, but I don't know why. I do, Olivia said confidently. It's because you're good. Animals sense these things, no matter what happened, before they see who you are now. The simple wisdom of the teenager struck Daniel deeply. Emily placed a proud hand on her daughter's shoulder. Where did you get so much wisdom, young lady? From Grandma, Olivia answered. She always said people are more than their worst moments. Sarah, even in death, still teaching, still forgiving, still loving through the generations. The following. Days passed in a blur of emotions and discoveries. Emily and Olivia settled into the sanctuary's guest house, and a strange but comfortable routine took shape. Olivia proved to be a dedicated helper, waking early to join Daniel in feeding the animals. She had a natural talent, especially with the more skittish ones. You've got a way with them, Daniel remarked as she managed to approach a margay that usually fled from everyone. Mom says the same thing, Olivia replied. But she worries, says working with wild animals is dangerous. And it is, Daniel confirmed. But with respect and knowledge, the risks go down. Is that why you left your clinic in Los Angeles? To work with wildlife? The innocent question caught Daniel off guard. Emily hadn't shared the details with Olivia. It was a life change I needed to make, he answered vaguely. Like a midlife crisis? Olivia asked with the unfiltered honesty of a teenager. Olivia, Emily scolded, arriving with breakfast. What? It's a valid question. It's fine, Daniel said. And yes, it was something like that. Sometimes you need to change everything to find yourself. Deep, Olivia commented, grabbing a cheese roll. But did it work? Did you find yourself? Daniel looked at her, at Emily, at the sanctuary he had built. I think so, but I've realized some important things got left behind. The moment was interrupted by an urgent call. One of the jaguars was in labor, the same one Olivia had wanted to observe. Can I go? She begged. Emily looked at Daniel, leaving the decision to him. It was a test, he realized, of trust, of judgment. You can, but stay where I tell you and keep absolutely quiet. Jaguar births are serious business. The next few hours were tense. The jaguar, named Willow, was struggling. Daniel worked carefully, with Rachel assisting and Emily lending her veterinary expertise. Olivia watched wide-eyed, following every instruction. When the first cub was finally born, alive and healthy, everyone sighed in relief, but two more were still coming. Grandpa, Olivia whispered, Hope is restless. Daniel glanced at the neighboring enclosure. Hope was indeed pacing, vocalizing softly. She senses what's happening, Daniel explained. Animals are sensitive to each other's states. Or maybe, Mrs. Wilson chimed in, she's remembering her own difficult birth. We almost lost the little one, remember? Did you save him? Olivia asked Daniel. It was a team effort, Daniel deflected. It always is. But Mrs. Wilson wouldn't. Let it go. Your grandfather stayed with her all night. He refused to give up even when it seemed impossible. Stubborn like that. Family trait, Emily murmured, and despite the tension of the moment, a small smile passed between them. The second cub was born without issues, but the third was taking too long. Daniel began to worry. Might be poorly positioned, Emily observed. Might need intervention. They worked together, father and daughter, decades of distance vanishing. As they saved lives side by side. Olivia held the flashlight. Rachel monitored the vitals. Mrs. Wilson prepared the emergency equipment. When the third cub was finally born, smaller than the others but alive, emotion overwhelmed everyone. Willow, exhausted but victorious, began cleaning her babies. 3 new lives, Olivia said in awe. We helped bring 3 lives into the world. It's always a miracle, Daniel agreed, wiping sweat from his brow. No matter how many times I see it. Emily watched him with a strange expression. When they got a moment alone, she remarked, You're a good vet. Better than you were in Los Angeles. How do you know how I was in Los Angeles? Mom kept newspaper clippings. All your achievements, awards, successful cases. She was so proud. Daniel felt familiar guilt tighten his chest. I should have been there. For both of you. Yes, you should, Emily agreed simply. But you weren't. And blaming yourself won't change the past. Then what does? The present, Emily said. The future. The choices we make now. That night, after Olivia went to sleep, exhausted but happy, Emily and Daniel sat on the porch of the main house. The sounds of nocturnal animals created a natural symphony. Tell me about her, Emily requested. About Mom in her last years. Daniel hesitated. Did he have that right? Please, Emily insisted. I took care of her, but she was your daughter. I saw the pain, the illness. I want to hear about the woman you loved. So Daniel told her about young Sarah, full of dreams. How they met in college, 2 vet students passionate about their work and each other. The simple wedding, their plans to open a clinic together. The joy when Emily was born. She sang to you, Daniel recalled. Every night a lullaby her mother sang, said it was a family tradition. Rockabye baby, Emily said. eyes glistening. She sang it to Olivia too. They shared memories late into the night, building bridges over the chasm of lost years. When Emily finally rose to sleep, she paused. The man who hurt Mom. What happened to him? Daniel tensed, a question he'd never allowed himself to ask. I don't know. After I left, I cut ties with everything and everyone. He went to prison, Emily revealed. Other women came forward after. Mom testified even though it was hard, she was brave to the end. She always was, Daniel murmured. You know, Emily said at the door, I think she'd be happy to see us here. Talking, getting to know each other, it's all she wanted. After she left, Daniel sat alone with his thoughts. Hope appeared in her enclosure, visible under the moonlight. She lay near the fence, her cub sleeping against her. Family, Daniel said to the jaguar. Complicated, isn't it? Hope yawned as if agreeing. Days turned into weeks. What was meant to be a weekend visit stretched as bonds were carefully rebuilt. Olivia was thrilled about the extended stay, especially after unofficially adopting Willow's 3 cubs. Can I name one of them? She asked during the cubs' weekly weigh-in. We usually wait to see if they'll survive, Daniel explained, but I think these 3 will make it. So, Olivia pressed. Daniel glanced at Emily, who shrugged. One name, he conceded, for the little one. Little Hope, Olivia decided immediately, because Big Hope inspired his mother not to give up. Little Hope, Rachel laughed. Not very creative. It's perfect, Mrs. Wilson defended. Hope begets hope, just as family begets family. The elderly woman had a knack for these profound observations disguised as simplicity. One day, while cleaning the mountain lion's enclosure, Olivia asked the question Emily had been avoiding. Grandpa, why did you leave when Mom was little? The silence was deafening. Emily froze. Daniel dropped the broom, even the mountain. Lions seemed to sense the tension. Olivia, Emily began. No, Mom. You all keep dancing around it, but no one says anything. I'm not a child. I want to understand. Daniel looked at Emily, silently asking for permission. She gave a slight nod. I made a wrong choice, Daniel said carefully. I thought I'd been betrayed, and instead of talking, running away seemed easier. But it wasn't? Olivia questioned with the straightforward logic of youth. No, Daniel admitted. It was the hardest and worst decision of my life. Did Grandma betray you? No, Emily interjected. Grandma never betrayed anyone. There was a misunderstanding, a lie told out of fear, and everything went wrong. Olivia processed the information, her brow furrowed in concentration. So you both messed up? Yes, Daniel and Emily answered together. But Grandma forgave, Olivia continued. She always said holding a grudge was like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. Sarah and her sayings, Daniel murmured, a sad smile appearing. So, Olivia turned. To Emily, you have to forgive too, that's what Grandma would have wanted. The simplicity of teenage logic cut through years of hurt like a scalpel. Emily blinked, surprised. It's not that simple, Olivia. Why not? Olivia challenged. Grandpa messed up, apologized, and is trying to make it right. What else is needed? Time, Emily replied. Forgiveness takes time. Okay, Olivia accepted. But we're here. We have time. And the mountain lions stink, so can we philosophize while we clean? The tension break was welcome. They returned to work, but something had shifted. The truth was out, raw but necessary. That night, Daniel found Emily sitting near Hope's enclosure. The jaguar was lying close to the fence, as if keeping her company. May I? He asked, gesturing to the spot beside her. It's your sanctuary, Emily replied. But it's your space, Daniel countered. Emily shifted, making room for him to sit. Olivia is right, she said after a moment. About forgiveness. Mom made me promise I wouldn't hold grudges, that life's too short to waste on anger. She was wise. She was, Emily agreed. But she was also human. There were days she cried for you, days she cursed your name, days she just wanted you back, even if it was to fight. Daniel absorbed each word like well-deserved. Blows. Me too, he confessed. I had all those days, many times over, but pride Pride is a terrible companion, Emily finished. Mom used to say that too. Hope stood and walked toward them, her sleepy cub trailing behind. She lay down again right by the fence, the cub settling between her paws. You know, Emily continued, when I saw the rescue video, before I knew it was you, I thought, this man understands protection, what a father does for his child. Emily, let me finish, she asked. I spent my whole life hating you for leaving us, but seeing you with the animals, with Olivia, you're not a cruel man. Confused maybe, proud definitely, but not cruel. I was cruel to you. You were, she agreed. But cruelty from weakness is different from cruelty from malice. I'm not saying it's okay, but I am saying, I'm trying to understand. They sat in silence, watching mother and cub. The parallel wasn't lost on either of them. What happens now? Daniel asked. I don't know, Emily admitted. Olivia wants to stay longer. She's loving it, and I have to admit, seeing her so happy. It's been a while since I've seen her this carefree. You can stay as long as you want. I have the clinic responsibilities, but she hesitated. Maybe we can work something out. Weekends, holidays. Olivia could help here, learn. If you want, of course. If I want. Daniel repeated, incredulous. Emily, it's all I've wanted. A chance to get to know you both, to be a family, Emily finished. It's strange, isn't it? Saying that after all this time. Strange, but right? Daniel ventured. Maybe? Emily smiled faintly. We'll see. A commotion at the sanctuary interrupted the moment. Shouts came from the area with the smaller felines. Daniel and Emily ran, finding Rachel and Olivia near the ocelot enclosure. What happened? Daniel asked. Speckles, Rachel said, pointing to one of the cats. He ate something strange. He's not feeling well. Daniel immediately shifted into veterinarian mode with Emily by his side. They worked in sync, years of training overcoming decades of separation. Looks like an obstruction, Emily diagnosed. I agree. We'll need to sedate him for a better look, Daniel said. As they prepped the animal, Olivia held the flashlight, her face a mix of worry and fascination. Will he be okay? She asked. We'll do everything we can to make sure of it, Daniel replied. The emergency surgery lasted through the night. Speckles had swallowed a piece of plastic left by a careless visitor. Daniel and Emily removed the object, working like an experienced team. You've gotten much better, Emily remarked as they stitched him up. 27 years of practice, Daniel answered. But you're exceptional. I had good inspiration, Emily said softly. Even when you were gone. When Speckles was finally stable and resting, the sun began to rise. Olivia had fallen asleep in a chair, exhausted from the vigil. She has your determination, Daniel observed, covering his granddaughter with a blanket. And your stubbornness, Emily added. I didn't even try to send her to bed. Knew it wouldn't work. Reminds me of someone I know. Daniel smiled. Was I like that? Emily asked. Exactly like that. Once you stayed up all night caring for a sick hamster. You were about 6. Fluffy, Emily remembered. I remember him. Mum said you'd brought him for me. From a patient who couldn't care for him anymore, you fell in love instantly. They shared more memories as the sanctuary woke around them. Mrs. Wilson arrived with fresh coffee, unsurprised to find them there. Long night? She asked. Productive, Daniel replied. Speckles will be fine. And you two? Mrs. Wilson asked, glancing meaningfully between father and daughter. I think so too, Emily answered, surprising herself. Olivia woke to the smell of coffee, stretching. Did Speckles make it? Yes, sweetheart, Emily confirmed. He's resting. Great, Olivia said, then looked around. You stayed up all night? Vets do that, Daniel explained. Cool, Olivia decided. That's definitely what I want to do. Are you sure? Emily asked. It's a lot of work, a lot of responsibility. Mum, Olivia interrupted. Look where we are. Look what we just did. We saved a life together as a family. If that's not inspiring, I don't know what is. The word family lingered between them, no longer strange but still fragile like the newborn cubs. Family, Daniel repeated softly. I like the sound of that. The following days brought a decision. Emily needed to return to Los Angeles, but Olivia begged to stay another week. "There's a long weekend," she argued, "and Grandpa said I can help with the annual animal census." "Census?" Emily questioned Daniel. "We've counted all the animals, checked their health, and updated their records. It's a lot of work, so any help is welcome." "Please, Mom," Olivia begged. "I promise I'll do all my schoolwork online." Emily looked between her hopeful daughter and her father, who was trying not to seem too eager. "1 week," she conceded, "but I want daily reports, and no entering dangerous enclosures alone, I promise." Olivia hugged her mother. "You're the best. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out as we're just starting. Now back to the story. After Emily left, promising to return the following weekend, Daniel found himself alone with his granddaughter for the first time. It was terrifying and wonderful all at once. "So," Olivia said as they prepared their clipboards for the census. "Are we going to have the talk?" What talk?" Daniel asked, confused. "The don't hurt my mom again or you'll deal with me talk. I thought it was standard protective teenager protocol." Daniel almost laughed, but saw she was serious. "You think you need to threaten me?" "I don't know," Olivia admitted. "You seem nice, the animals like you. Mrs. Wilson, who's clearly the wisest person here, trusts you, but I've hurt her before," Daniel finished. "Exactly. And my mom's strong, but losing Grandma was hard. She pretended to be okay for my sake, but I know she wasn't. If you disappear again—" "I won't," Daniel promised. "Olivia, the biggest mistake of my life was leaving. I lost everything that mattered. I won't repeat that." "How can I be sure?" Daniel thought carefully. "How do you promise something to a teenager who learned early that people can vanish?" "You can't," he admitted, "but I can show you day by day that I'm here to stay. That family, even if it's late, means everything to me." Olivia studied him with eyes that looked too much like Sarah's. "Okay," she decided. "Chance accepted. But I'm watching you." "Fair enough," Daniel agreed. "Now, shall we get to work? We've got 47 animals to catalogue." The census turned out to be more fun than Daniel expected. Olivia had endless questions about each animal, their stories, their personalities. She gave them all nicknames and made up elaborate backstories for them. That mountain lion, she pointed to an older male, was clearly a dethroned king. "Look at his posture, all majestic even in old age." "King Leo," Daniel suggested. "Too obvious," Olivia scoffed. "How about Augustus? He looks like an Augustus." "Augustus it is," Daniel agreed, jotting it down. When they reached Hope's enclosure, Olivia grew thoughtful. "Did she really trust you from the start?" "Seems like it," Daniel replied. "I still don't fully understand why." "I do," Olivia said. "Maternal instinct. She saw another dad trying to save his kid and recognized it, like a universal dad code." The teenager's insight kept surprising Daniel. "You're pretty sharp for 16. Grandma used to say age is just a number. Wisdom comes from observation." Olivia paused. She would have loved seeing you here knowing this. "Knowing what?" "That you never stopped being a dad. You just redirected it to the animals because you couldn't give it to Mom." Daniel had to stop, emotion tightening his throat. "That's very generous, Olivia." "It's true," she said simply. "Grandma always knew. That's why she never let Mom hate you completely. She said love doesn't disappear. It just changes form." They continued the census in thoughtful silence, grandfather and granddaughter building bridges through conversations about animals and shared memories of a woman they both loved. That evening, as they cooked dinner together, Olivia insisted, claiming Daniel lived on instant noodles, she brought up another delicate topic. "Grandpa, can I ask you something personal?" "Go ahead," Daniel said, already learning that refusing was pointless. "You never remarried? Had other kids?" "No," Daniel answered. "I never could. It always felt wrong." "Because you still loved Grandma?" "Because I didn't deserve another chance after wasting the first one," Daniel corrected. Olivia frowned as she chopped tomatoes. "That's really self-destructive. Where'd you learn that term?" "Therapy," Olivia replied casually. Mom thought it'd be good after Grandma died. It was. Dr. Johnson is great. And what would Dr. Johnson say about my behavior? Probably that you're punishing yourself for something you can't change. Instead of working to improve what you can, Olivia recited. She talks a lot about focusing on the present. Wise, Dr. Johnson. Right? Olivia smiled. But seriously, Grandpa, you spent almost 30 years alone. That's not healthy. I had the animals. Animals don't hug back, Olivia countered. Well, some try, but it's not the same. Daniel had to admit she was right. All those years, he'd convinced himself he was fine alone, that he deserved the isolation. But now, cooking with his granddaughter, talking about life, he realized how much he'd missed. Maybe you're right, he admitted. I always am, Olivia said confidently. It's a gift. Now taste the sauce and tell me if it needs more salt. The rest of the week flew by. Olivia settled into the sanctuary's routine as if she'd always belonged there. The staff adored her, and the animals seemed to recognize the same gentle energy in her that Daniel had. One incident stood out. One of Willow's cubs, the smallest one Olivia had named Little Hope, fell sick. Nothing serious, but enough to worry them. Olivia volunteered to keep watch with Daniel. You don't have to, he said. It'll be a long night. That's exactly why I need to, she insisted. Family doesn't let family keep watch alone. So they stayed. Daniel handled the medicine and monitoring. Olivia kept him company and made sure the coffee stayed fresh. Around 3 a.m., with Little Hope finally stable, Olivia made a confession. You know, when Mom said we were coming to meet you, I was angry. Why? Daniel asked, surprised. Because it meant Grandma was really gone, Olivia explained. As long as we didn't fulfill the promise, it was like she was still waiting. Coming here made it final. I understand, Daniel said softly. But now, Olivia continued, I think I get what Grandma wanted. It wasn't just about you meeting us, it was about us having family again, about Mom not being alone. And you, Daniel added, about you having more than just a mom. Yeah, Olivia agreed. Grandma was smart. Even gone, she's still taking care of us. Little Hope let out a soft mewl, stirring. She was getting better. Look, Olivia smiled, another life saved by the Vet family. Vet family, Daniel repeated. I like that. When Emily returned that weekend, she found Olivia fully settled into the sanctuary. Her city girl was now in muddy boots, her hair in a practical braid, eagerly recounting every detail of the week. Mom, you won't believe it. I helped deliver a capybara, and there's a new Antita that only eats if I bottle feed it. Emily raised an eyebrow at Daniel. She was careful, he assured. She's got a natural talent. Of course she does, Emily said, pride clear in her voice. Genetics. They spent the weekend together, a family routine starting to form. Emily helped in the makeshift clinic, her skills perfectly complementing Daniel's. We could expand this, she remarked as they organized the medicine. Build a proper clinic here. Treat not just the sanctuary animals, but injured local wildlife too. I've always wanted to do that, Daniel admitted, but alone it was too much work. Well, Emily said carefully, you're not alone anymore. The moment was interrupted by Olivia running in, excited. Mom, Grandpa, Hope is doing something weird. They rushed to the enclosure. Hope was indeed acting strangely, carrying her cub back and forth while vocalizing. She's looking for something, Daniel observed. It was Mrs. Wilson who understood. Today marks exactly 1 year since she arrived here, she said. Pregnant, scared, alone, maybe she's remembering. As if to confirm it, Hope took her cub to the corner of the enclosure where there was a small artificial den. It was where she had given birth. She's showing him where she came from, Olivia said in awe. She's teaching him his history. Animals have strong emotional memory, Emily explained, especially about significant moments. They watched in respectful silence as Hope cradled her cub in the place of his birth. It was a powerful reminder about origins, about how the past shapes the present. We're doing the same thing, Olivia noted, going back to our roots to understand our history. Daniel placed a hand on his granddaughter's shoulder, Emily on the other side. 3 generations united, watching a mother teach her child about their beginnings. I think hope is teaching us too, Emily said. About what? Olivia asked. That no matter how hard the beginning was, Daniel replied, what matters is what we build afterward. That evening, gathered around the dinner table, Emily made a proposal. I've been thinking, she began, about the idea of expanding the clinic. And? Daniel asked, trying not to sound too hopeful. I have a partner in Los Angeles, Dr. Williams. He's been wanting to expand into rural areas. If we offer a partnership, he could cover my patients when I'm here. You'd stay here? Olivia asked excitedly. Part-time, Emily clarified. Maybe 15 days a month to start. We could build something special. A wildlife rehabilitation center that also works as a rural veterinary clinic. That's an ambitious project, Daniel said, his heart racing. We're ambitious veterinarians, Emily countered. It's in our blood. I can help during breaks, Olivia volunteered. And when I graduate, I'll work. Here too. Slow down, Emily laughed. One step at a time. But Daniel saw in her eyes the same hope he felt. A chance to rebuild not just relationships, but a legacy. Something that would unite the 3 generations in a common purpose. Then let's do it right, he said. Business plan, permits, structure. If we're going to be partners, let's be professional. Look at you, Emily teased. The businessman coming out. I never stopped being one, Daniel admitted, just redirected my focus. In the following weeks, plans took shape. Emily traveled between Los Angeles and the sanctuary. Olivia used every break to help. The expanded clinic project began to come to life. One particularly meaningful day was when they received the first official patient of the new clinic, a stray dog with abandoned puppies. Our first family, Olivia declared as they settled the animals. Fitting, Emily remarked. Daniel watched the two working together, grandmother and granddaughter in perfect sync. Sarah would have been so proud. Grandpa's getting emotional, Olivia noticed. Your eyes are shining. It's the dust, Daniel deflected. Of course it is, Emily said, winking at her daughter. The dog, whom Olivia promptly named Daisy, recovered well. Her puppies thrived. One by one, they were adopted by local families, but Daisy stayed. I think she chose to stay, Mrs. Wilson observed one day, watching the dog follow Daniel around the sanctuary. We can't keep every animal we treat, Daniel protested. Not all of them, Olivia agreed. But the special ones, the ones who choose us, they deserve to stay, and Daisy stayed, becoming the unofficial mascot of the clinic. She had a special talent for comforting frightened animals, as if she understood the fear of abandonment. A turning point came when Emily made an even bigger decision. I sold my apartment in Los Angeles, she announced during dinner. Daniel nearly choked on his food. What? I bought a house here in town, nothing big, but enough for me and Olivia when we're here. Keeping 2 places didn't make sense if we're going to spend more time here. Mom, that's amazing, Olivia cheered. Hey, does that mean we'll really live here? Part of the time, Emily corrected. We still have lives in Los Angeles, but yes, we'll have a home base here. Daniel couldn't speak, emotion tightening his throat. This is... Are you sure? Dad, Emily said, and it was still strange and wonderful to hear her call him that. I'm tired of living in the past. Mom wanted us to be a family. We can't get back the lost time, but we can make the most of what we have. Besides, Olivia added, someone needs to make sure you eat right. Mrs. Wilson told me about your ramen diet. Traitor, Daniel muttered to Mrs. Wilson, who just smiled. The change was gradual but significant. Emily's house was just 10 minutes from the sanctuary. Soon they established a routine. Breakfast together when she was in town, family dinners, weekends working side by side. The expanded clinic opened 6 months after Emily's first visit. It was a modest but meaningful event. Local veterinarians came to see it, bringing patients who needed specialized care. This is fine work, Dr. Williams, Emily's partner, remarked. Integrating conservation with community care. Innovative. It was her idea, Daniel credited Emily. It was our idea, Emily corrected. Family, remember? During the opening, something unexpected happened. An elderly woman approached Daniel. You don't remember me, she said, but you saved my cat 30 years ago in Los Angeles, Snowball, a white Persian. Daniel searched his memory and vaguely recalled. Mrs. Campbell? Yes, she smiled. When I heard the sanctuary vet was Dr. Daniel from Los Angeles, I had to come. You saved Snowball from severe pneumonia. I had 12 more happy years with him thanks to you. I'm glad, Daniel said, moved. I'm the one who's glad to see you're still saving lives, she said, squeezing his hand. It's a rare gift. After she left, Emily remarked, how many lives have you touched that you don't even remember? I try to focus on the ones here now, Daniel replied, looking meaningfully at her and Olivia. The real test came when Hope fell ill. It started subtly. Loss of appetite, lethargy, but it quickly worsened. It's serious, Emily diagnosed after tests. Kidney failure. Daniel felt his world collapse. Hope, the jaguar who trusted him, who started this whole journey of reconciliation. We can treat it, he said desperately. We can try, Emily gently corrected. But Dad, she's old for a jaguar. Olivia, who was listening, began to cry. No, Hope can't. She's special. All animals are special, Daniel said, hugging his granddaughter. But they all have their time. It's not fair, Olivia sobbed. It's not, Emily agreed, joining the hug. But it's part of life. What matters is how we care for them while they're with us. They began aggressive treatment. Daniel practically moved into Hope's enclosure. Emily and Olivia took turns caring for him and the jaguar. One night, as Daniel administered medication, Hope licked his hand again. Weakly, but the gesture was there. I know, girl, he murmured. We're trying. Emily appeared with coffee and a blanket. Going to be a long night? They all have been, Daniel replied. She sat beside him. You know, when Mum was in her final days, she said something. That love isn't measured in time, but in intensity. Sarah was always a poet, Daniel murmured. She was right, Emily continued. You loved Hope for a short time, compared to a lifetime. But love is all there. Like you, Daniel said. I lost 27 years, but the love never left. It just paused. Not anymore, Emily said firmly. No matter what happens to Hope, we're here. Family. Miraculously, Hope responded to the treatment. Slowly, day by day, she improved. She wouldn't be the same, but she survived. Stubborn, just like all of us, Olivia declared when Hope finally ate on her own again. Family trait, Daniel joked, earning a confused look from the jaguar. Hope's recovery coincided with another milestone, the first anniversary of their reconciliation. No one mentioned the date outright, but everyone knew. Emily prepared a special dinner. Olivia made a lopsided but lovingly baked cake. Even Mrs. Wilson and Rachel were invited. A toast, Emily proposed, raising her glass of juice, to the future, and to the past that brought us here, Daniel added. And to Grandma, Olivia finished, who made it all possible. They toasted, family and chosen friends, celebrating not just reconciliation, but the creation of something new and beautiful. Later, Daniel found Emily on the porch, watching the stars. Thank you, he said simply. For what? For giving me a chance, for bringing Olivia, for coming back. Emily smiled, a smile so much like Sarah's it hurt. You know what Mom said before she died? That the greatest gift she could give me was the chance to have a father, even if it was late. Wise words, Daniel murmured. She also said, Emily continued, that you'd teach me good people sometimes. Do bad things, but that doesn't make them bad forever. I learned that from animals, Daniel admitted. They don't judge the past, only the present. Then let's be like them, Emily suggested. A shout from Olivia interrupted the moment. Mom, Grandpa, Willow's having more babies. They rushed over, finding the jaguar in labor again. The family worked together through the night, bringing 3 more lives into the world. Never gets less miraculous, Emily remarked, watching. The newborns. Never does, Daniel agreed. But he wasn't just looking at the cubs. He was looking at his daughter and granddaughter, his restored family, his personal miracle. 2 years passed. The clinic thrived. The sanctuary became a rehabilitation leader, but most importantly, the family grew stronger. Olivia, now 18, was accepted into vet school, at the same university where Daniel and Sarah had met. "It's a little scary," she admitted, "following in all your footsteps." "You'll carve your own path," Emily assured her, "with family." "Behind you," Daniel added. On the day Olivia moved to Los Angeles, emotions ran high. "I'll miss you," Olivia said, hugging her grandfather, "and the animals, and Hope." "They'll be here," Daniel promised, "and so will we, always." As the car drove away, Emily at the wheel, Olivia waving, Daniel went to check on Hope. The Jaguar was with her third cub, now a teenager. "Look at us," Daniel told her. "Two old souls who learned about family too late." "But we learned." Hope yawned, then licked her cub's head. "Eternal care, unconditional love." Daniel's phone buzzed, a message from Olivia. "Already miss you. Take care of Hope for me. And eat properly. Family takes care of family." He smiled, typing back, "Always. Grandpa loves you." Mrs. Wilson appeared beside him. "Emotional, isn't it?" "Very," Daniel admitted. "Worth it?" she asked. "All. The pain to get here." Daniel thought of Sarah, the lost time, the tears and reconciliation. "Every second," he answered. That night, the sanctuary was quiet. Daniel made his final rounds, checking on each animal. Upon reaching Hope's enclosure, he stopped. The Jaguar lay still, her golden eyes reflecting the moonlight. She stared at him, and Daniel swore he saw understanding in that gaze. Gratitude, not just for the rescued cub, but for all that had followed. "Thank you," he whispered, "for trusting me, for showing me the way back home." Hope blinked slowly, then closed her eyes, content. Daniel returned home, the home where he now shared regular meals with Emily, where Lara's room waited for the holidays, where family photos adorned the walls. In the frame on the table, Sarah smiled, forever young. Beside it, a recent picture. Him, Emily, and Olivia embracing, Hope visible in the background. "We did it, Sarah," he murmured to the photo. "Late, but we did it." The night wind blew through the open windows, carrying the sounds of the sanctuary. Life moving forward, families growing, love enduring despite it all. Daniel Thompson, veterinarian, father, grandfather, fell asleep. In peace for the first time in nearly 30 years. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new animals to save, new memories to make with his family. But today he was whole. In the enclosure, Hope slept soundly, her cub safe beside her. In the sky, stars shone like promises kept. And somewhere, Daniel was certain, Sarah smiled. Family. Complicated, imperfect, sometimes late, but always, always worth it. As Hope had shown from the start, sometimes you must trust even when all seems lost, because on the other side of fear lies the possibility of something extraordinary. The end of the story. And you, dear listener, have you ever forgiven someone? Who deserved a second chance? Sometimes love is waiting on the other side of pride. Leave your like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments. Do you believe in reconciliation?